Hello, everyone. This is me, Adam from Middle Age Gaming 2020, and we have a very special episode today because this is going to be our first special guest episode. So I'm here with my friend Steve. Steve, you want to say hi?
Hi.
All right, fantastic. So unfortunately, we cannot show his face due to special reasons. So we're having some issues with the video here, so we're not going to be showing his face, unfortunately. But as long as you guys can hear him, that should be well enough. And that's his kid right there, so you guys can hear that as well. So this will be a very enlightening experience because we are going to see what it's like to try to get things done when you have a kid around the house, right?
Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
This is a great example of one of Adam and my gaming sessions, by the way.
All right. So first of all, let's go into a little bit of background of ourselves. I mean, we've known each other for what, 26 years, right?
Something like that. 94?
It was fourth grade. I know that much. So
Yeah.
Actually, no, yeah, that would have been 94. All right. So yeah, we've known each other for 26 years. That's quite a long while. This guy knows me a bit more than my youngest brother does, actually. So that's really interesting. Also, our gaming past goes back quite a bit. For example, on my end, my favorite genre, as I've expressed on the show before, is RPGs. And actually, my first RPG was Final Fantasy III on the Super Nintendo, which is actually Final Fantasy VI. But back then, it was Final Fantasy III. And I played that at your house. So thank you for introducing me to RPGs because it's now my favorite genre. So
Yeah, they've always been my favorite too. And we used to just sit in my basement and play them together. I remember we played the Ultima series with like these giant stereos just blasting next to us so we could hear every footstep of something approaching.
yeah, no, lots of good times. Okay, and then that's actually led up to pretty much where I am today. So we're gonna go a little bit into our past, a little bit of a deep dive here. So just to give you guys an idea, like I said, Steve and I used to game a lot, and then we decided that we wanted to create some of our own games. Is that not correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I still do want to. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later because Steve's been working in Unity. But yeah, so we wanted to go into game development, and that's actually why I went into computer science. And of course, that didn't pan out. But
Yeah,
that led me to Taiwan, and that leads me to here, and that leads me to now. So I gotta say, I owe you quite a bit. So,
Well, I mean, I think we're still on a path. We're just, there's a little baby oasis while things slowly recuperate, at least in my life.
what a beautiful way to word it there, a baby oasis. So you've been listening to the show a bit, right?
Yeah, of course. Anytime when there isn't screaming in the background, I try to put it on and, sorry, give me a second.
Oh, sure.
I try to put it on and, follow along with what you guys are doing.
Okay, so
You like source the things that I wish I had time to play or do and just can't yet.
well, that's part of the reason why we do it because the way I see it is, as a dink, dual income, no kids, it's my responsibility to humanity to waste my time so you don't have to waste yours. So I'll play all those games and let you know which ones are worth your while and which ones you can give a skip. So
Yeah, I have to say that's the number one thing about having a kid. Like, it's super rewarding, but it makes every second of time I get to play with you and Jake, I'm like, this must be the best game session I've ever had because I get 2 hours and that's it for the week. So being able to pick the right games to play and then focus in on them is really important these days.
speaking of which, did you ever finish Valkyria Chronicles?
I am in the last battle, saved halfway through, and I have it so that I'm certain to win.
How long has that been?
Well, I haven't turned it on in 3-4 months. It would take me 1 2-hour session probably to figure out what I was doing, where everybody is, and just play it through. And I just haven't had that time.
Hmm.
I'm sure I could make the time, right? That's not having a baby. That's being lazy. But it's kind of like I do this, like I savor the last moments of a game, and so it's very like especially with Ale around, it's like, do I want to fire it up? No, I want to look forward to it still, and so I haven't done it because once I do it, that's done. I actually haven't finished The Witcher's Blood and Wine expansion either. I'm at the gates of its final boss on my New Game Plus playthrough, and I just haven't gone and beaten it for the same reason, and that's been 3 years. So it's not just Ale.
Right, and that's actually worth mentioning too, because the reason I brought up Valkyria Chronicles is it's one of my favorite games. So I told Steve that he has to play it, and I was like, "You have to play this game. You have to play this game. You have to make time for it." And he made me a deal that he would play Valkyria Chronicles if I played Witcher 3. So when just at the end of last year, I finally popped in Witcher 3, and I told him, "Okay, I'm playing Witcher. Now you have to play Valkyria Chronicles." And now I find out that you're not even finished with The Witcher. So.
Wow, I'm level 86, and I have, yeah, I think it counts. I just haven't beaten the last fight of the last expansion.
Which expansion did you like more, Blood and Wine or Hearts of Stone? Heart of Stone.
I liked Hearts of Stone better just because I felt like I think Blood and Wine is a better expansion in that like they changed the aesthetic. It's huge. It really feels like this is a new game and a full new adventure. But I like that Hearts of Stone is kind of baked into the adventure you're doing. So it fits the old Ultima 7 style expansions where it's like, oh, same world, you're doing your stuff, just now there's a new island with demons and you can forge a really cool sword or create a golem that'll hang out with you if you want. You don't have to. That's how Hearts of Stone felt to me. Whereas, you know, yes, yes, baby. Whereas Blood and Wine felt like you're gonna go someplace completely different, do something completely different. It's meant to be after the adventure. It's like a mini sequel.
That's definitely true. I actually think I liked Heart of Stone better too. I think I just liked the story a little bit more. I did like the fact that you got a new environment, and Regis is quite possibly one of my favorite characters in The Witcher.
He's so good. You should read the books if you haven't too, because he's like, to me, the one character who's the most exactly the same between the books and the games. They like nailed him, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed Regis, but I think I just enjoyed just the whole story of Blood and Wine a little, or not, sorry, Heart of Stone a little bit more. And I really loved Gaunter O'Dim. He's one of my favorite villains of all time now. So I thought he was great. So how far have you caught up with the show? Do you know which episode you're on?
I don't know which episode I'm on. I just hit play, so like, you know, it just runs in the background, and I probably re-listen to them constantly too. Like, you know, when you have a kid, everything is kind of like in a weird time warp. So like I don't usually get like longer than a 10-minute stretch of attention. So it's really just like, it's just nice to be able to, like, when I can't G-chat you or talk to you or, you know, think about games, just if I have 5 minutes, I can just toss it on my Spotify and it'll just play through.
And hear my lovely voice.
Exactly. And it's like, and you know, I learn stuff. I hear about games that I want to try. I hear about your endless love for Final Fantasy 14. You know,
so good.
The thing is, a lot of the stuff I know your opinions on because we talk.
Right, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah, but it's still useful to hear. It's still like, it's just nice to hear not just one perspective but multiple perspectives on it.
Yeah. I was going to say something. Because for me, when I listen to my podcasts and stuff, I typically do it while commuting, but you don't have to commute, right?
That's right.
Everybody's at
down, so there's no commute, there's no walking, there's no, like, all of the times when I normally would listen to podcasts are gone. And the thing is with him, I can't really have headphones in my ears. And having the computer open like I do now is super attractive to him. And so, especially if it's playing noise, usually he'll come and start banging on it within a few seconds.
Ah.
So Right now, like he's being calm and he's distracted, but that's pretty atypical. Um, and so like just your ability, maybe it's just my parenting style, but your ability to have other media on is pretty slim because he needs constant attention. And so this is the thing, the computer is often something I can do to amuse him,
Hmm.
or I need to be playing with his toys, in which case I can't really listen to you because his toys
Right.
sing and dance, right?
So how old is he? Is it about a year, right?
Yeah, he's 16 months.
Okay, so year and a
And
third.
yeah, so yeah, he was born in October.
All
Oh,
right.
what's that? Is that Wheels on the Bus? That's his favorite.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it is. Yes.
All right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see other parents if we get them on the show, just to see like different age ranges, because obviously Ali's quite young. So seeing how people
And
deal with older
styles.
kids and styles
Yeah.
and kids with siblings versus because Ali's an only child currently, right?
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully forever. But I mean, having kids is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about it. But it's so much time and energy. And, the thing I look forward to most when he gets older, and every month he gets a little more self-sustaining, but having more time to do kind of my own stuff, that's the thing you lose most in the first year or two at least.
Hmm.
So, being able to, I really want to play Horizon Zero Dawn, but there's just no way, like, how long have we played Divinity? Over a year,
Has it
and we
been a
are
year?
inefficient. But like, if I were playing a solo game, because I only play solo games when I'm not able to play with you guys,
Right.
and so that's less time, right? So I think my estimate is it would take me 5 years to finish Horizon Zero Dawn right now.
Yeah, you're gonna want to set some time aside so you can get that all in a relatively short time. Because
Exactly.
there is a lot in there, and yeah, you want to be able to keep up with the story and not fall behind on it and stuff.
Well, and you jump in. It's like when you haven't played Skyrim or WoW or any of the games with a deep inventory system in a long time, and you jump in and you're like, "This is awesome." The first 5 minutes are great, and then you open your bags and you're like, "Oh my god, what was I doing?" And you have to spend like 15, 20 minutes just trying to find the one thing you're looking for, or you're like halfway through a quest but you don't remember anything about it, so you have to go through and read the journal to catch back up.
Yeah, that was my
That's most of my
problem.
gaming time.
Yeah, that was my problem getting into back into WoW, and it's kind of like, okay, I remember I have Shadow Bolt, and I remember I have this Rain of Fire thing, and then it's like, oh no, they changed all the spells. If you start off, hey, and there's Ben Johnson, he's saying, oh man, that hits home. This man speaks the truth. So Ben is now on the line with us. All right, but as I was saying, with ooh, but yeah, you get out of it in a while and you get back in and you're like, I don't remember what it is, and it's almost more daunting to not start
Yeah.
over, because if you started from the beginning, you're starting and you're learning again. But when you come back, it's like, oh, here's 20 spells. What do they do? I don't really remember all that much, so it almost feels like I'd rather start over. And then if you're doing that, they'll never get anyway. Ben's asking where your picture is from. That is the Guardian from Ultima 8, correct?
Well,
I mean, I
yes, he
picked
shows
it.
up in 7.
Okay.
Yeah. If you haven't played the Ultima series, you really, it's like super classic. It's maybe hard to appreciate now, maybe a little dated, but they were my favorite games when we were kids.
I think my favorite's actually Ultima 6 just because it blended the what do you call it? It had, I mean, it was a normal game. You controlled it with like WASD or the controller. Oh, Korean was the one I was asking what the picture was. He's on here too. Uh,
Hey.
so yeah, you could control it with the keyboard, but it actually still had some of the text inputs that you had from the older games. You remember? So you could say like, recruit, or you could say look at and type those words in, and it would actually do those actions. So it was a little bit of the text adventure and a little bit of the new age kind of action adventure. So I thought that
And the
was really cool.
dialogue system did that too. So like somebody would say, Yeah, I was over at the inn and there was a fight. And if you said what happened at the end, they would then go into more detail about the fight. Like
Yeah.
it didn't give you options. It let you free text the dialogue, and it was shockingly good at giving you kind of dialogue trees based on picking up on the right words and what they said. It takes a little bit of gaming, but to figure out like how to talk to them. But I feel like this is something that I'm shocked that modern games haven't done, because that kind of like linguistic technology is so much more sophisticated now, and you really could make a beautiful, like fun, like more free feeling game doing dialogue that way. That was the best part, is it felt like you could ask them anything. And sure, it's a game made in the 90s, so most of the time they'd be like, oh, I don't know about that. But sometimes you just say, oh, I heard this rumor about whatever, and then they would say, oh yeah, actually, and you just felt so smart, and you felt like they were real.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
no,
love those games.
no, it was great. No, I totally agree, and I actually kind of feel bad because I've gone back. I went back. I don't remember what it wasn't Ultima, but I went back and played something, and it was like a text adventure, and I felt like I'd lost a skill because I was playing it. And I'm like, how do I get the guy? Like I'm trying to like do all these things, and then I'm missing stuff, and it just felt so hard, and I was like, this used to be perfectly normal, and now it feels difficult. I've lost this skill. Oh no. I was very
I know
disappointed in myself.
stuff has gotten streamlined. Like you're not used to having this like extra skill. Like I know how to play games, which is not easy.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. So, do you personally? I mean, you said you enjoy RPGs. Do you have any other kind of preferences in terms of games, or?
Yeah, I like session games in the. Give me a second.
No, go ahead.
Yep.
This is real life, people. So.
Yeah, this is like every Divinity session. I love.
I feel like our
session-
Divinity sessions actually go a little bit better. I've never heard Ale on the audio.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. He's usually asleep at that time, which helps. But then he stops being asleep, and then you are left for like 30 minutes to cheese fight Krakens while I
Right.
put him back to sleep.
Yeah, that
That's
actually
the story.
happened. Yeah. So, you want to tell him the story, or do you want me to tell him the
No,
story?
well, I wasn't there, so.
Spell a witch name. So in the chat, they're asking us how we spell that name, but I'm not sure what that name they're asking us. But I guess
Kraken?
if a kraken, well, he knows what a kraken is. So do you want to tell the story? Or you want me to tell it?
You should tell it. I wasn't there.
Oh, he wasn't there. So we're playing Divinity, and his son's name is Ale. It's short for Alexander.
Yes.
It's short for Alexander, and he's half Italian, by the way. So that's cool. Anyway, so we're fighting the Kraken, and you'd spell it what, Ale, right?
Kraken.
Not Kraken. No, but we're fighting the Kraken, or we were going into a zone, and I have this really bad habit of starting fights, and this goes way back to even WoW.
It goes before then.
Yeah, it goes before then. I'm causing trouble and tend to get into trouble and then either get myself out and everybody else killed or die last. It's usually one of those twos. So anyway, Steve had to take care of Ale, so he left, and it left me and our other player Jake, and we're playing this game. Well, I get into a fight and we realize that there's a Kraken there, and then he comes back and we all die, so it's bad. So because my character is a summoner, I figure out that what I can do is I can summon my incarnate, send my incarnate in, and I have a stealth spell to make my incarnate invisible. The incarnate will go invisible, get close to the Kraken, do one attack on it, and then that'll activate battle. And then because it's activated in battle, I can then, because my character is set farther back and is not in battle, I can just summon another incarnate and then send that one into battle, and then just do this to whittle down the Kraken. And we ended up defeating the boss that way without legitimately fighting it. Because we knew if we got into a fight, then basically it would go and it would wait for Steve's turn, and then we can't do anything because we're just waiting on Steve. But so we did a boss fight that way, and it worked out. It was slow, it was tedious, but it was effective. So
Yeah, it was perfect actually. I think it was better than if I had been there.
hard to say. Yeah, it was a little bit clever. So
So yeah, back to your question. I love really long games like Civ, but those are like dead out with a kid. And I really love session games. We haven't played one in a while, but the Star Wars Battlefront or like Rogue Squadron or something where you can just jump in, enjoy it for 20, 30 minutes with no commitment and be done. But RPGs are like that's strategically way easier with a kid. But I just like RPGs so much more that I would rather be us grinding slowly through Divinity than playing those when we have a Divinity like to play.
So here's a question. I have a friend. He's got a son. He's a little bit older than Ale. He's in his first year in kindergarten this year. So I guess he's around 4 or 3-ish, 3 or 4. So he actually doesn't really game, but what he does do is he will, like, they have some kids stuff on the iPad. Do you guys have like a tablet that Ale kind of plays with? Does he do any kind of interactive stuff?
He's too small for that stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
and I also don't want him to be constantly on things. He's pretty good at playing with his toys right now, and so I try not to give him too many like shiny distractions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. You don't want him to get addicted to it.
Right, exactly.
Which actually leads me to another question. So have you felt that after becoming a parent, your taste in games, not in the sense that like, RPGs versus, in time, that sort of thing, but, for example, in terms of violence or, sexual content or something like that, do you feel like your taste in games has kind of changed a bit? Like before you'd be like, oh, well, I'll just play this game. And now you're kind of a little more wary of what you're playing.
I think maybe I feel like I'm a little less into normally, like I remember when GoldenEye came out and you could shoot people and they did bloody stubs on their arms. I think I'm much less into that kind of thing. Now I would be like, did you need to, guys? But in terms of the conceptual violence, I don't feel like I'm any less violent. Like I still like turning people into chickens and then rupturing their tendons and dropping them into lava, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like...
And you still like Witcher.
I feel like... Huh?
You still like Witcher.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's kind of tastefully done. But I do feel like maybe would I play Call of Duty around him? Probably not. So, like with a lot of guns and banging and things like that.
Is that because of the sound or because of the content?
Both. Kind of the like super immersive, loud, like compelling. I think the slower pace of turn-based games like Divinity or slower paced RPGs is nice because it means that if I need to put the controller down and go over to him, it's not like you're not feeling like I'm not playing the game because I'm half distracted and it's all Twitch, so any second I'm not paying full attention, I'm dead. Like
I know.
It creates more mental space for doing other stuff.
Right. Yeah, no, I've definitely...
Not that I want to be multitasking, but that I just have to be.
Yeah. No, I've definitely been in situations where I'm playing, say, Final Fantasy 14 and a package comes and I'm like, oh no, I need to leave. And I feel bad because now my character's just going to stand there and not add damage to the boss.
Right. And now you're not contributing.
Right, exactly. And there are cases where I've been called away. I don't know if you would use this. I do this trick where I just shut down the PlayStation completely. So I make it look like I got disconnected. So yeah. That's what I do. So I don't know. I feel bad like leaving people, so I don't leave. I just completely disconnect, and then I'm like, oh, sorry guys.
Right. You're the he DC'd. He's a nice guy. He just got bad internet.
All right. So Ben says, hi, Steve, and then in parentheses, Steven. I don't know what you prefer. Congrats on the family. Does fatherhood give you or change any opinion you have on video game potential to adversely or positively affect childhood development?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
It's a long one
I
too.
think when we grew up, there were educational games and they just sucked. I still liked some of them, like Island of Dr. Brain, but
Yes.
I feel like there is a lot of potential there. My general worry is just like if I get Ale a tablet or something, he's gonna spend so much time playing Bejeweled that even if there are benefits, like maybe he should just be, you know, doing other things. I guess I think there's potential, but I think everything in moderation. Like he should I want him to read books, play puzzles, play with games. I do think growing up playing a lot of games was good for me. And I think that yeah, I guess just I don't want him to grow up obsessed with them, right?
Right.
And so I mean I'm obsessed with them. And do I want to be a little less obsessed with them? Maybe. Do I want to be a lot less? No. But I also, we didn't have stuff all in our faces all the time as a kid.
Right.
I need to go do a diaper change and feeding.
All right.
Can we resume this at a later date? Is that
Uh,
possible?
so just end the show for now, and we're resuming another date.
I don't know how long it's gonna take. Is the thing.
I mean, if that's what you need to do, we can do that.
Yeah. Well, it's not my choice, but
All right.
he's pretty.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. We can resume it another date. I do have a few more questions. We didn't get into Unity, but we can maybe. When would be good for you?
I'm pretty flexible. We can do another morning like this. It's just about. I think this is the final lesson I have about parenting is he just has a clock where like he's okay playing and amusing himself, and but there's a point at which he just like he's now just staring at me and crying, and he wants attention, and he probably wants it for the next hour or so, and I just need to do that. It's
All right.
tricky because you can't predict.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. All right. Well, I guess that's yeah. As Ben says, good luck, and it's glad because he hasn't glad to have heard from you because he hasn't heard from you in a while.
Yeah,
So
I miss Ben.
I miss Ben too. We're gonna have him on the show if he agrees to it. So
Super exciting for that.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming. We'll figure this out another time.
I want to talk more. I'm sorry. Maybe get Maggie.
No, I'll try. I think she's in the shower right now, so we're probably just gonna end the show for now. It's okay though. We still got roughly a half hour, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And we'll talk next time. We'll talk
will,
about Unity.
Yeah, I will do better for you next time. Although
Don't worry about it.
It'll probably be exactly like this.
No, it's fine. You got to be understanding when you're playing with parents.
Yes.
You have to be
That's
able to. Yeah.
the hardest part.
All right. Well, catch you later.
Yeah. How do I get out of this? Just exit?
Yeah, just exit. That's okay. You can just exit out of the call.
Thanks. See you, man.
See you later. All right. Well, it was great hearing from Steve. Unfortunately, he did have to go and take care of his son. But that's life when you are a parent, and that's life when you are a gaming parent. So thank you all for coming and listening. There's no real point on me doing this on my own. So we'll pick that up another time, and then I will put these two sections together, or three, or however many it takes. We'll put them together into one compiled podcast. So when you guys go ahead and listen to the podcast, you'll just hear a full thing that's been edited and doesn't have any of these interruptions. So thank you all for coming. I'm sorry it was short. Hope you did enjoy it and have a little bit of fun in the short time that we were here. And I will see you all again soon. Goodbye.